Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 401. This is the Detroit Lions podcast, and it's the only official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris. With me is my effervescent and gorgeous young co-host, Jeff the Riz Risden. How you doing, brother?
It is good to be with you. You know, it's episode 401. I feel like I should have a 401k, but that would require me actually being like employed by somebody officially instead of just a contract worker.
Oh shit! Do I owe you money? Oh no, not yet. Okay, cool.
No, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, the checks are clearing, but I tell you what, man, it's tax season, and tax season for those of us who draw independent contractor paychecks from up to 7 different sources. It's not fun.
Oh, man. So a lot of stuff coming into the chat already. Questions about Malik Willis. Questions about Baker Mayfield. Worry not, my friends. We shall cover it.
We will talk about that madness.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about here. We got Micro Mike in the chat. What's up, brother? When you guys get done here or in another window, you know, go ahead and head over to Lions Talk with Micro Mike. Give him a sub. He's a super guy. He's working with us. Love him to death. We're doing some co-op stuff coming up here real shortly. Once life gets a little calmer, but love that guy. He's a good guy. He's got some really good content. So check it out, guys. All right, got a great show today. Costs of a wide receiver. Boy, did that number blew up this year. And today.
That number blew up today.
It's silly. We'll talk about that. A couple free agency signings, a little bit of free agency action. It's almost as good as the hot rear action. Malik Willis talk. Russell Brown is going to join us from Woodward Sports. We got that and a whole lot more. Great show lined up. Riz, I don't know. You ready to go, brother?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Woo, yeah. I think this is probably a good one to start with. The chat. JJE in the chat. DJ Chark and Josh Reynolds were bargains.
Yes.
Absolutely. Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. Tyreek Hill traded from Kansas City today. If you haven't heard, and if you had, it's still worth going over this again.
Yeah.
The haul for him that KC got, you know, and they're not lacking talent. We'll just start there, right? They got this year in 2022 a first, a second, a fourth, and you're like, oh, okay, well that's good. No, next year they got a fourth and a sixth. This is a team that is going to have an embarrassment of riches in the talent department, but this is crazy.
We'll editorialize real quickly here. I love this move for Kansas City. Oh, they have to cut salary. They can't keep paying all these guys while they're paying Mahomes, $500 million. So you do that by prioritizing who you can replace and who you can't. What do? You load up on controlled costs, first, second, third round picks. They have 5 in the top 100 this year. They're going to be able to replace Tyreek Hill with a guy like Calvin Austin. Is he that guy? No, but is he close enough that he can work in their offense? Yeah. They still have Mecole Hardman. They've got some. Now they did lose Byron Pringle. They did lose Demarcus Robinson, but they've got the ability to reload. And look, what's this class really good in? Wide receivers. Where do they have a lot of picks? Right where the wide receivers are going to go. Yeah. That's not an accident what they've done. And I love the fact that they're unloading Hill while he's still high enough to get that kind of value. But you can see, like, he wasn't quite as good last year. And maybe they understand that. And Chris, this is something that you and I have talked about in the past a lot. It's something that I espouse yearly. Be wary when a good team gives up a player. They know why they're doing it. And, like, I don't want to criticize Miami for doing this too much, although it's a very weird fit when you have the quarterback with the worst arm in the NFL and you keep getting him all these speedy downfield receivers. I don't get that, but they're trying. They're trying to make a splash. For those of us in Lions land who wish that the Lions would make a splash, maybe this is a little bit of a cautionary tale of, like, maybe step back a little bit and, evaluate what you are and understand what you are, because I don't think Miami does that. And that's one thing that I do think. I think the Detroit Lions have a very good idea of what the Detroit Lions are and want to be.
Here's the big problem for Miami, right? And I get what they're doing. I do too. This is the move that says we are now going to know what we have in Tua. The downside is if we don't like what we have in Tua, we can't do anything about it.
We're going to have to trade for Baker Mayfield next year.
They are cooked. I mean, they've got nothing to get anybody next year as far as draft picks. They're going to be in a really, really tough spot. I mean, it's just going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be hard for them to fix this if this doesn't go well. Tua had best be their guy, and I think what they've surrounded him with talent. They have made everything. They've put everything in place.
Look, getting Taron Armstead as their left, that's a brilliant move.
Oh yeah,
love that. Love that.
They are all in on Tua, and Tua now needs to perform. And if he does, it'll be brilliant. They'll be looked at as this is one of those brilliant moves. If it doesn't work, though. Man,
Chris Gear's never working again if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Oof. Oof. So you go back to Josh Reynolds, you go to Chark, and you say, you know what, we did all right. I'm thinking about, Allen Robinson wasn't that expensive in the end when you think about how much he was, but by the same token, I think we can get something younger and longer in the draft that's going to be in that range of what we're looking for. And that's if DJ Chark doesn't show up, right? I mean, that's if he gets injured. I feel like we're in some pretty good space here with this team.
As long as they get one. They have to get one. Yep. And I hope that signing DJ Chark and bringing back Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds to a lesser extent, although I think Josh is a long-term building piece, you can't ignore wide receiver because you've done these guys,
right? And
that's my worry, is that they think that they're done, and we'll find out. We don't know. We'll find out in 7 weeks till the draft, something like that.
Yeah. And boys, and girls, we have a march to the draft. We have so much going on. We've got Russell Brown joining us today. Woodward Sports, CBS Radio, all kinds of credentials. He's a draft guy, super draft guy. He's going to come on.
Really good dude. Really good
great guy. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to start putting some pieces together. We've got Emory Hunt coming in 2 weeks where we're going to go deep. What's help me out. I forgot off the top of my head the name of his publication he does every year.
He is Mr. Football Game Plan. He does his check out his YouTube stuff. If you ever turn on CBS Sports Network, chances are you're going to see his smiling face on it, and he belongs there. He's really, really good. Yep. My perennial partner at the Shrine Bowl back when it was in St. Pete, sat next to him every year for close to a decade. One of my best friends in the business. He wanted to come on. Try to get him this week. His draft guide is actually coming out next Wednesday. Yeah. We can't do next Wednesday based on some logistical issues, so he's going to come on the week after that. So Emory will be with us in 2 weeks then. We will not have a guest next week because you're going to be operating in transit.
Yes.
But,
yes.
We'll have some fun with it. I have, and Chris doesn't even know this. I'll break this to Chris now. I have an upcoming little YouTube short clip that he's going to produce over the weekend. He's going to talk about a couple of things, and I'll just tease at it. It's the working title of it is "The Illusion of Smoke."
Ooh, that's interesting. That is interesting. I'll check that out. Yeah,
I've written it out. I rehearsed it in the shower today, as I do most things, and that's it sounded really good. I wish that somebody would have heard it. I wish my wife would have been in the shower with me to hear it, but she wasn't. So
I would hope you would be talking about something else if she was in the shower to hear it. That's just my hopes for you, young fella. Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah, no, football game plan. Check out his draft guide. It is awesome stuff. Emory is great. We'll have some other people coming in. We're going to be doing I think we're going to have, instead of one mock draft show, usually we have Schlitt and Scott Bischoff and Riz, and we're going to have Colin in this year as well. I think we're going to do like a second show with more people, first round draft, go all in, talk about why, who, what, where, the whole thing, and walk through the whole thing. People love that show. We're going to do, I think, 2 of them this year because they're just so good, and I enjoy the heck out of them. Yeah. So keep that. We got that going down to the March of the Draft, and then on draft day or draft days. And
days, plural. There's 3 of them
without a Z. We're doing 2. We're doing rounds 1 through 3 live shows, draft party, and it's always a great time. It always every day ends with people betting money on Super Chat for me to pound Jaeger, and I don't think that's going to change this year.
Stay away from the Jaeger, baby.
It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. We love doing the draft show. And this year, the first round is going to be fire for the Lions. Second round, too. Yep. It's just going to be awesome.
Yep. That's I will be in when I can. As you know, Chris, and as longtime watchers of this pod and followers of me know, it's my busiest day of the year. I will write between 40 and 60 things over draft weekend, and they are time sensitive. So I do have to, USA Today does pay the bills. I gotta respect that. So I go with them, and Real GM also pays quite a few bills. So I gotta give them some love too. So I a lot of the time I will be writing, but when I'm not, I will poke my head in, and if I have something like really prescient or awesome to say, I will drop it.
Cool. So look at that. We also got a lot of videos coming from Colin. If you've seen his breakdowns, linebackers are coming up on Friday.
Wide receivers was great, dude.
Yeah, he's good. I really love what he's doing. He's got some good stuff. He's put some more. I think we've got 2 of those a week through the draft now. Coming at you guys. So we've got a lot of really good content coming for you, and I think you guys love it. Like Micro Mike says, make sure to subscribe to the Detroit Lions podcast.
Yes.
Do that right there. We appreciate when you do that. Also hit the like and hit the bell. Those things help us. The algorithm is the big thing where you were wrestling with. You guys have heard it on other YouTube channels. Your action really does help us. So we appreciate all you do. Thank you, everyone who does hit those buttons for us. All right. Another piece of this one. It's got me waffling, my friend. It's got me waffling. Justin, thank you, sir. Appreciate the super chat, man. That is really awesome.
Cool.
Let's see. Thanks for everything you guys do. Best Lions podcast out there, trusting in homes to make the right moves come draft time. Me too, Justin. Me too. This is going to be a telling year. This is going to be a telling year for us on what happens and what we have in Brad Holmes. I think after year one, the circumstances this team went through, and how the players held on to the very end, and the guys that re-signed, I think that I'm in on Dan Campbell when he took over the play calling, the changes in the team. When we got a wide receiver, how well Jared Goff played. Dan Campbell can make this team work. Dan Campbell can get us a winning team. The next question is can Brad Holmes get us the talent? And I think by May 1st, May 2nd, we're going to have a really good idea if he can.
Yeah, absolutely. I remain critical of some of the re-signing decisions that they've made, notably at quarterback, where you can't tell me there was another team in the league that was going to sign either Tim Boyle or David Blau before the draft. It wasn't going to happen. I look. I'll jump off that because I'm trying to be happy now. But
the quarterbacks.
I'm with you on the. I trust Dan Campbell more than I trust Brad Holmes at this point, and that's subject to change. But right now, I look, and it's not that I dislike Holmes. It's not that I think that I like, and I'll go to what we should talk a little bit about Sheila and what she did in her video with Danny Rogers.
Roll into it, buddy.
I thought she projected the unified front that you want to see. She is clearly cut from, to use their words, cut from the same cloth that they are in terms of competitive vision and how they want to mold the team. I love the fact that she said, I will not meddle, but I will offer input. And I thought that was a very telling sentence for her. And Chris is, woo, the vapors. I was very pleased with her tone and how relaxed she was at it. And once again, you can't tell me that woman's 70 years old. Holy crow, man.
No, sweet woman. Yeah.
I was very pleased with it, and it speaks to that they have a vision and they're sticking to it, and she's happy that she's not pressuring them to go out and make moves for Tyreek Hill and things like that. And while I remain frustrated at times with some of the moves that they have and have not made, I also really appreciate that they're not making moves that are that risky and potentially like franchise altering in a negative impact. They haven't done that at all. Yeah. And I'm happy about that. Yeah. And she seems happy about that too.
Yes. Dee, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Love that, and love your help and all that stuff. So thank you for the super chat. I will go back to quick. Sheila, I agree. I like the shared vision. I love the belief in what each other is doing. I think Brad Holmes has the right people around him, as he has not given me a reason not to have faith in him. The quarterback thing, I get where you're at. The rest of the signings, and I know people were really, I think, and there's a lot of that kind of I've been here with the Lions before kind of thing that kind of clouds the vision sometimes. And I know there's others, it's a Kool-Aid drinking slappy. Well, it's a new regime. They've only been here a year. Okay. And the fact that these guys came back on good deals that are literally no risk to the team. Any one of these guys that came back, we can cut. Any one of them.
That's a saving grace.
Yeah, with
Definitely.
no problem. That means you are at least better than you, or as good as you were, and you can get better without having a negative effect on your cap and everything else. That's the thing that Bob Quinn never could do. He would create holes and then fill them in with a quarter the amount of dirt, that the hole that he dug, and continually made the roster worse through his terrible cuts and fills. It was
right, and it was putting too much risk on guys like Jesse James and Chase Daniel, and even Trey Flowers, to that matter. Although I still believe Trey Flowers would have worked out had he not gotten hurt. And I wish that guy nothing but the best. I really liked him. I think he's going to land on his feet somewhere. But yeah, there was too much of we're putting all of our eggs here. And when the eggs break, they didn't have anywhere to catch the yolks or make it into some sweet bread or anything. They just let it. Oh, it's on the floor. Oh crap! Someone's got to clean that up.
That's right. And so we got a question. Let's see. Are you worried Holmes put all his eggs in the Jared Goff basket? Those two seem tight. He made a trade because he wanted Goff here, unlike what Florio reported that he was a throw-in. I'm going to go on that, Jeff, and then I'll hand it to you, and you can go from
Good.
there. I don't think Goff was a throw-in. I think Goff was the best quarterback available at the time. And even now, you look around at the guys moving around the league, we're still probably somewhere from 12 to 16 or 17 at quarterback in the league. If he's got the right people around him, he's great. Matthew Stafford, and this is one he really rubs people the wrong way, but he didn't win a single playoff game until he got surrounded by good players, right? Well, you can't expect somebody.
He
else.
Also didn't win some surrounded by good players in Detroit.
Those are the years I'm talking about. Not ripping on staff. I'm just telling you, it makes a difference who's surrounding the player. We have direct evidence of that right now. What we saw from Jared Goff was not what Jared Goff could be last year. We saw towards the end of the year with some mediocre players, some pretty good play out of him. I think that play can elevate this year and continue to elevate if we can get the right players around him. Hence what you said about getting the wide receivers in the draft, actually grabbing them there. The other piece was I always go for this, and JJ, I'm not trying to bust your balls here, right? I do this to anyone who mentions it, though. We didn't do a trade. We were forced into a trade. Matthew Stafford left the team. He said, I do not want to play here any longer. If you look at what's happened with some of these other teams in that situation, right? It's been an absolute crap show, right? It's been a dumpster
Cleveland!
fire.
Hello, Cleveland!
We were able to navigate those waters, put Stafford in a place that's good for him, honor the history we've had with him, not turn it into a Barry or a Calvin situation, right? Turn it into something good. And we get a quarterback that's pretty darn good, really, if he's got people around him. He didn't have the players around him last year. This year it's going to be better. There's a lot of building that's going on. We'll see how that goes. That's my take on where we are, but I always want to make sure I call out, we didn't trade him. And this is the thing, I'm going to say this, and this is going to make some people mad, but Stafford gave up on Detroit. I don't necessarily blame him for doing it, but he gave up on Detroit. And that's kind of where I'm at with him.
He was done being part of the Lions. He wanted to see if he could do it somewhere else. And I don't blame him. I don't think anybody can really blame him. Look at where that team was at. Look at where the management was at. Like, we look at it now through a bit of a refreshed prism because we have some optimism, we have some hope. But at that time,
he had no coach, he had no GM. He just
knew it was dark, man. He'd just gone through, and keep in mind, he was coming off of back injuries, plural, 2 broken backs, separate seasons, separate injuries, separate but related. He wasn't sure how much time he had left. He didn't want to devote it to a rebuild. If they asked him if he wanted to be part of grooming your eventual successor, he basically gave them the middle finger and told them to get him the hell out of town. And again, I don't fault him for that. I think it was a smart move on his part. It clearly worked out for him. Yeah. I don't hold that against him. Like there's a lot of people that are upset about the AT&T ad with Lilly, where he's like making the illusions. I think it's brilliant. Like, detach yourself a little bit. He's not a Detroit Lion anymore. You've got to get past that. Like, I went through that with LeBron James, and because as you know, I'm a massive Cleveland Cavaliers fan. And I had to get over the fact that LeBron wasn't there anymore. Like, you couldn't judge the guys that were on the team anymore in reference to LeBron. You couldn't You couldn't keep hating on him. And then he came back and was like, oh, now all that bad crap that I said about him while he was in Miami, gotta shut that up. And notice now, see, Clevelanders learned now, because LeBron's going to be free next year. Most people in Cleveland think he's going back, and they're very careful not to criticize him at all, and because they learned the lesson that way. I think Detroiters have to learn that lesson, and I don't think that's been because no player of prominence has ever left and really become the cornerstone of a championship, other than maybe Justin Verlander, where you have to come to that process. And I don't think that the Detroiters are there with Stafford yet. And I'm telling you all, you got to get over that.
Yeah. Whoa,
it's been a long time.
Dude, thank you, Blue Jay, donating to the 4K upgrade. Best Lions show on the planet. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yes.
Make me look better so my hair doesn't look so terrible. That's why I'm wearing a hat tonight.
We're working on an upgrade to do 4K quality for the stream. We're pushing all this the super chat.
My son just gave me a look like, Dad, just shut up.
Using the super chat to push that, it's a pretty expensive proposition. It's over $3K, and we appreciate all those folks that are super chatting and help us get there. Thank you, Detroit Blue Jay. You rock and you roll, brother.
Yes, thank you for that.
All right, so yeah, Stafford gave up on Detroit, left Detroit, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, right? I mean that's the only way to say it, because that's basically what happened, and he don't blame him for it. Really quick, let's get into the quick question we had here from Panda Mine, who came in with a super chat. Thank you, Panda. We need linebackers. Who would you like us to get and would be available? I'll try to say that word again. Available. After pick 2.
Oh, there's a plethora of them. Damone Clark, 66. You can get me Channing Tindall at 66. Great with that from Georgia. He's a perfect fit. You can get me Troy Anderson from Montana State at probably have to get him at 34. I don't think he's going to be around at 66, but that's worthwhile. All these guys are significantly better athletes than the players, plural, that they would be replacing in Detroit. And they also, it's a phenomenal off-ball linebacker class. There are guys on day 3 who will be good NFL starters right away in this draft. Yep. There's also a lot of really good ones still out there in free agency. And one of the reasons why is because nobody's buying these guys right now, because they know, oh, this draft class is loaded. Why should I spend X amount of money on this guy when I can draft a guy who's might be better than him right away for cheaper, like in the 4th round? Like that's exactly what's going on. The market is oversaturated with really good linebackers. It's another reason why I wasn't crazy about them rushing out and signing Alex Anzalone when there's so many other good guys who've proven that they're better than him out there.
Anzalone.
Yeah, sorry. We need some Glenn Danzig background music, because that's his actual last name too. I'm very thrilled with the linebackers. Like any of the Georgia guys, honestly. Although I don't think Nakobe Dean is a great fit for what Detroit's going to run. Although it's better that they're going to have a 4-man line in front of him. But the way that I envision, and the way that it's been explained to me by people who are on the coaching staff, that they're going to use their linebackers. He's a little small and a little like I'm trying to think of, they're like a dartfish. Like he's into a hole like that, and you kind of need a guy who's like, and then strikes. Like he's not like that, you know. Sound effects for visual effects for all the people that are watching on YouTube. I won't give any sound effects because that's just weird.
That's my job. But I don't know if I have one. I got this.
He's
it's not a dartfish.
He's a guy who's not going to always take the most direct route from point A to point B if there's somebody in the way.
Right. And
that is not going to work as well as what somebody who doesn't care. Like, I might have to blast through this guy. That's okay. Quay Walker, his teammate at Georgia, can do that. There's a lot of guys that can do that. There's a free agent out there, Nick Kwiatkowski, who played for the Bears for a while, played for the Raiders. He can do that really, really well. Really good players. I am not at all worried about it. I would like them to draft one, and I would also like them to sign another one. Although Josh Woods and who they signed, what's his name? From the Ravens, and Chris Board.
I was going to talk about
Chris Board played well for Baltimore So the Ravens last year, we talked about this a little bit last week when we were talking about them signing Marcus Williams. Their defensive injuries last year were brutal. And they had to play, like Detroit did, a lot of young guys and play a lot of guys who weren't expected to get a lot of reps in their base defense. He was one of them, and he did pretty darn well. Like, he was the guy, he was a special teams guy. He was their Jalen Reeves-Maben. And he proved that he can be more than that to them.
Can I talk about him a little bit really quick?
Yeah, please do.
Signing from Baltimore, 1 year deal, $2 million, $600,000 guaranteed. If I go to PFF and I look at the stack of linebackers we have on the team right now, he is the highest ranked linebacker on the team at 49th of 87. Alex Anzalone at 79th, and Derek Barnes at 85th.
I thought it was 86. Must be 85.
Moving on up, baby. It's the Jeffersons here. So I mean, you look. We just signed Chris Board as he's a good Jalen Reeves-Maben. He's the best linebacker, rated linebacker on your roster, according to PFF.
And also, don't forget Sean Dion Hamilton. I will refuse to let that guy was good last year until he got hurt, and the coaching staff knew it.
He's unrated as of right now because he was out last year.
Yeah, he didn't play.
Yep. So I'm interested in this, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about. Riz, this is when we're going to watch this year. We're gonna have that boat horn ready for Riz is right. I hope on Sean Dion.
I hope so. I like that guy.
Yeah,
he played well for Washington in limited duty back when they were still the football team.
Yep. Let's see. We got Jeffrey and Tina K9. How you doing? Thank you for being great members and joining us on the show today. Let's see. I want to talk about the other signing we had. A guy named Mike Hughes. Quarterback from KC. Didn't cost us nearly what Tyreek Hill cost Miami because we're better negotiators. He comes in $3.5 million.
Might be a slightly different caliber of player too, Chris.
Let me go to my PFF rankings again. Positional rank.
PFF likes him a lot.
They have him ranked 18th of 116. Our next highest, pay attention here, folks. Our next highest is Jerry Jacobs at 47.
Yeah.
Jerry Jacobs. I'm going to do a little preview. I'm not going to say anything about it, but the people that watch us, you get to see a little something. A little bit let me get it up. A little seatbelt gang action. Stay tuned, seatbelt gang. All right, Jerry Jacobs was just ranked really, really high. It's gonna be so cool. Over everybody else. I couldn't believe it. I mean, Will Harris came in ahead of AJ Parker. So some of these rankings, you're like, huh? Right? But you look at these rankings, you see what's there. Again, we just signed two guys that you're like, middle in quality. The top PFF ranked guys on the roster right now.
And they're young. Hughes, former first-round pick of the Vikings. They played him inside. He didn't play well inside. He played outside almost exclusively in Kansas City, and they found something.
Yep.
It's interesting because where does Detroit really need help at cornerback is kind of inside. But, with Okudah and Jacobs with their questionable injury status coming back, you can never have too many outside corners.
That's right.
And I will note that you did not mention Amani Oruwariye and where he ranked in the PFF things. I will tell you that his coverage grade was probably a lot better than his tackling grade and run defense grades were, and that probably weighed him down quite a bit.
Yep.
That's
79.
That's part of the whole package that you get. So.
Yeah. Yep. And I like Oruwariye. And I can say his name's pretty decent now, so it's even better. I can't have him leaving on us. So there you go. I see DZ. I don't think Goff is a Super Bowl kind of guy. He was at the Super Bowl once. He did go there one time, so he is a Super Bowl
there once.
We're not a Super Bowl kind of team. But here's the thing with Jared Goff playing, and this is going to lead into the next thing, and I have a feeling I'm going to send Riz on a rant here. But
crap.
Jared Goff, he plays this year. He does well. You don't need to have drafted a quarterback. He doesn't play well. You're perfectly lined up to draft a quarterback. It's really
but next year's quarterback class outside of C.J. Stroud stinks. It's worse than this year's.
I've seen some people saying otherwise, but we'll see.
It's hard to tell right now. I saw people think that Zach Wilson was really good last year. How's that treating you now?
Yeah. Well, we'll see how things are. It's hard to tell right now. It's always so far up in the air to kind of make something that make a call on something like that. But Jared Goff, we'll see. We'll see what he is, and I would rather. We're not a Super Bowl team right now, and I would rather see Jared Goff just be the bridge to get a team built, and then get your quarterback. If we look at what what the Rams did, and I mean Colts
with
did.
Goff as the bridge to getting the team. Look at what the Chiefs did with Alex Smith until they got Patrick Mahomes. That's a great analogy for it.
It's really something to go out and watch somebody else develop a quarterback. Take the risk at drafting a quarterback. Let them run them up, see what you got, and then sign him away for big money once you've built your team. That seems to be the MO right now, rather than draft.
Yeah.
Other than Burrow, you got to give him credit for coming and did what he did. But they don't have a team. That's why they played.
Dude, this offseason has opened up everybody's eyes. Oh my God, you can trade for a good quarterback. Like, I can get Russell Wilson. You're telling me I can get Russell Wilson? Really? Yeah. Wow. Like I can get. Well, Carson Wentz probably isn't a very good example because he's not as good as Jared Goff, but.
At the commodes.
I can get Matthew Stafford in a trade. Really? I can get Deshaun Watson in a trade. I can go out right now and get Baker Mayfield for a 6th round pick if I want to. I can get that.
Why be the team to develop somebody and have them go somewhere else to win? Why not build your team up and get the talent and then steal a quarterback somewhere else? Let me ask you this. Do you think Russell Wilson, had he gone a year earlier and he went to the Rams instead of Stafford, do you think he would have won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think he would have.
There you go. All right, so moving on. And yeah, Alex Smith played well and won playoff games too as well. That's absolutely true.
He did.
That leads us in then to the talk about Malik Willis. And Riz, I want you to talk about Malik Willis at 2 because you've got a pretty pointed view on him. And I want to give you the megaphone to scream from the top.
It was brought up to me on Twitter today. Because he had his pro day yesterday, and it was the reactions to it were the coronation of a new king, and Simba, being held up there. And I honestly think that most people who are doing that have never watched him play or have only watched highlight reels because his highlight reels are great; they're brilliant, but his overall play. Like, if you were just grading their tape on what they've done and not necessarily what they could be in the future, but based on just what they did in college, he's not a top 400 prospect in this class. He's not. The tape is not there. You are risking everything on the athletic traits that young man has and the leadership, the charisma that he has. And I will not deny any bit of that. He's a very well-built guy. He's a little shorter than you want, but good enough. Tremendous athlete. Seems like he's a very durable guy. Sturdily built. Like I'm not worried about injuries with him the way I am with Tua or the way I am with Bryce Young next year at 180 pounds. Get that mess out of here. Come on. You're going to draft a 5'10", 180-pound quarterback in the NFL now? Really? After Kyler Murray, who weighs 35 pounds more than that? No. Get that mess out of here. But I digress. But Willis, he's got the great arm. We saw it firsthand, Chris. We saw it in Mobile. Yeah. He has an absolute cannon. He's got the ability to see the field and open up the field with his legs. He can make that first rusher miss, and then he stresses the linebackers and the safeties. Oh crap, he might run, and he's faster than me, and I can't catch him. And that's very intriguing. But you don't win in the NFL unless you can also throw the ball.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson has proven this very well. The Ravens got good only when he proved that he could also throw the ball really well. And they actually went too far in the other direction and are asking him to throw too much now and got him away from the running. Yep. But that's the lesson that they're learning.
But they're finding the injuries and they're getting gun shy. Let me tell you though, I'm going to make a prediction really quick, and I just want to jump in with this prediction because it's a little bit controversial, I'm sure. If wherever Malik Willis lands, and if he starts and plays a significant amount of games this season, I predict he will lead the league in interceptions because he's got a great arm, but man, when he misses big, and it's just not consistent, period. And in the NFL, it's going to be even harder. I think all kinds of balls are going the other way when he starts throwing.
Well, he did lead the NFL. He led all of college football last year in interceptions on throws that were more than 15 yards down the field. And a lot of that is the fact that he doesn't read defenses. That doesn't mean he can't. It means that he hasn't. And that's a skill that's very difficult to develop at the next level. And my player comp for him, and I let this go on Twitter today, I was actually writing this out, is Jake Locker, who was once a phenomenal athlete, great athlete. Probably wasn't as top end fast as what Malik Willis is, although Malik won't run for us because he doesn't want to show that off. But certainly not. He's certainly not lacking speed. But Jake Locker was a phenomenal athlete. Great locker room guy. If you remember him at Washington, magnanimous leader. Everybody loved this guy. Everybody loved him at the Senior Bowl. He had two big issues when he came out of Washington. He couldn't throw an anticipatory throw. He had to see the receiver open before he threw it. If you watch Malik Willis for even 2 drives, you will see that exact problem. And that's not an easy one to fix. The other one with Locker, he didn't elevate the play of those around him the way you would expect of a guy with that athletic ability. Right. I don't want to put that on Malik Willis because we haven't seen that yet, but you're asking a whole heck of a lot for a risk for a guy who hasn't, like, this guy, like, he wasn't playing against Alabama. He wasn't playing against, like, he played against Mississippi, which was an okay team. Right. He got lit up by Army. Like, name an Army defender in the last decade. Like, you can't. Like, Louisiana Monroe, he was brutal. Middle Tennessee State, like, now they had a good defense, and they have a safety in Reed Blankenship who deserves to get drafted in the middle rounds, and I'd love him in Detroit. But you're not talking about like he's not playing the Chicago Bears here. He's not playing with Jair Alexander and the other corners, Rasul Douglas that they just brought back in Green Bay. Like, those guys are salivating at the thought of baiting him into something, and he's proven that he will do that. Remember at the Senior Bowl, and I'll quote Joe Marino from the Draft Network on it. Malik Willis was responsible for the best throws and the worst throws every day in Mobile. And that's undeniably true statement. And for him to learn on the job like that, I don't want that in Detroit. I do like the guy, and I do like his potential. And I've said, even though he is certainly not the best quarterback now, if you're looking for a guy who could eventually be better than Jared Goff, he is your best bet in this draft. There's no denying that. But you're betting on a whole lot of things going right, all right, very quickly for that to happen. And I'm not in that risk business. Yeah. I saw it with Jake Locker, and I'm not doing that again. yeah, for sure. Saw it with Deshaun Kaiser coming out of Notre Dame with very similar problems too.
Let me ask you this: do you take him at 32?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If he's there,
yeah.
The way that Mike Tomlin looked at him is the way that Roseanne Barr looks at a sandwich. Man, he ain't passing that. Not a chance in the world.
This is why I asked that question, because it's a little bit of a trap. If Tomlin doesn't take him and many of the other people don't take him and he falls to 32, I'm wondering what's wrong with Malik Willis at that point. There's something that's not out there. Yeah. If there's a tonsil tape or something else, that something is up.
So he hinted at this in his combine interview. Somebody asked him, when did you realize that the NFL was going to be like a viable path for you? And it's like, when I started not playing bad. Like, he knew that he wasn't good. Yeah. Like, and I loved the candid answer and how refreshing he was at, like, I wasn't very good. Like, when I was at Auburn, I sucked, man. I deserved to be benched. I deserved to get my ass out of there. Yep. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what he meant. Yep. I like his self-awareness on that. I love the fact, and pro days are by and large completely worthless, but one of the things that he said afterwards was, he was more upset about the plays that he missed than the glory that was being bestowed upon him. I like that a lot. Yep. That shows that there's drive there. Yep. That, and I don't think it's lip service with him. I don't think he's playing the game. I think that's him. I think that's who he really is. Yeah. And I like that. And I would bet on that at 32, but at 2, no thanks. Yep. I don't even think he's going to get to Pittsburgh. There's a lot of very recent developments who think that he's going to Seattle. Yeah. And it might not be at 9. It might be going up.
Yep. All right, really quick one. Rahman, the new age. Sorry, Lions don't have a history of being able to draft or build a team. That's kind of true. You can go back to 58, but I mean, before this year, Stafford didn't have a history of winning Super Bowls. The Bengals don't have a history of winning Super Bowls, so count them out. Count them straight out. That's the one thing that bothers me, because this is truly a different. Yeah, we got Jeffrey and Tina with it. It's a different Lions org. than we've seen before. This front office is different. The William Clay Ford thing is gone. The Matt Millen thing is gone. Will it work? We don't know. But it
Please
is
take the damn WCF off the sleeve.
It is absolutely different than anything we've seen before. And frankly, I think this group has the best chance in my life. Other than the Wayne Fonts years, I'll have to say Wayne Fonts, his teams were they're a quarterback away, man. He said it himself. But other than those years,
so did Herman and Lomas.
Yeah.
They knew it.
Lomas tried to kill him so they could get one. But
it's a true story.
I know. The difference is this team. This is the best we've had in a long time. So I'm willing. I mean, they're giving them 6 years because they know that this is a bottom up rebuild. There's a lot of work that goes into this. It's not that they're not trying to win, but I think they're building it more for a long term rather than a quick splash and drop out. And I'm down with that. I've waited 157,000 years already. I'm fine waiting an extra 2 if it takes, if it's what it takes to figure out Goff and to get players around the team where we can pick up a guy to push us over the top. I'm okay. I'm okay with waiting 2 years. If it fails again, I'm going to be heartbroken and I'm going to be angry. I'll tell you straight up. But I don't know who, like in this offseason, who you're going to hire. I'm going to fire them. I'm going to fire Holmes and I'm going to fire Campbell. Who are you going to bring in? Right? And it's easy to stand there and say, the Lions stink. To heck with this team. They can't do anything. But what would you do different? And most people don't have an answer to that. Well, that's not my job. Well, yeah, okay. So it's always easy to criticize. It's so difficult to create. There we go. Okay.
It is.
I've got Russell on the line. We talked to him.
Good deal.
Yeah, that's it. Don Burr, exactly. If Willis is around 32, I'd probably pass. It would scare me because why would he be there? How did he get to 32? That was kind of
that's what we were just talking about with Tyreek Hill being given up by the Chiefs. Like, that's a really good team giving up a player that seems like a very key piece to them. Why? Ask yourself why. Don't be like, oh, give me. Like, why don't they want him anymore? That's the question you need to ask yourself.
If no one wants Malik by 32, that's my thing. I'm worried. It was like, what's his face who fell last year? Fields. Why is he fallen? What happened? What don't we know?
He only fell to 11?
Yeah, but that's still, he should have gone like 4 or 5, right? That was nutty how watching him.
He should have gone 7, but I digress.
Okay. Let's bring Russell in. You good? We can talk about this other stuff after we talk to Russell. All right, let's bring in Russell Brown from Woodward Sports. Russell, how you doing, brother? Tune in Tokyo.
Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, there we go.
How you doing, Russ? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Couldn't be better.
We are great.
Wait,
it's good to see you. We haven't seen you in a good 2 months since we were together in Mobile.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys. How's everything going? And how's the show? What have I missed?
Oh, we're talking about a lot of different things, but you since you are a Detroit guy, you'll get involved. But first off, your title, it says Woodward Sports right there. Tell everybody why it says that, because I'm very excited for you, and it's really cool.
It's kind of fresh.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. It's all kind of I don't know. It's all kind of happened pretty quick over the last couple of weeks, but. Long story out of it is, when I was 16, I went to Michigan camp and I saw Jake Long and I was like, well, I'm never playing college football. So I was like, I need to do something else in the realm of football and sports media and everything. So radio was my thing that I wanted to do. Had a kid at 18, took care of him, put my, dreams and aspirations on the back burner and just have been kind of chipping away. And, here we are. Woodward Sports contacted me, as everybody knows, or maybe they don't know, but they're kind of like a Detroit sports digital media company that focuses on radio and video. And they do some stuff on some FM stations out this way, and everything's up on YouTube as well. And they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be an NFL draft analyst for them, and as well as work with the podcast with Scott Bischoff. So love Scott, love the work he does, and we've already kind of cranked out 2 episodes, and we've been getting going. And it's as Matthew Stafford would say, it's a bunch of fun.
So let's start with the basics. How many rounds are there in the draft?
You're being quizzed, bro.
7.
There we go. We had Jim Nagy go through his whole resume, and I was like, okay, so no experience, right? Okay, got it. So yeah, no, we do that kind of thing. All right, let's talk draft.
That's awesome.
You know the name that everybody's talking about. I think, well, there's 3 big names, right? I think people are talking about at number 1 for the Lions. Start with the biggest, or number 2 overall with the Lions, but first round for the Lions. Start with the biggest. You know the name. What's your thoughts? Is this the guy that everyone's scrambling for? The anti-Goff crowd. Goff's not the guy. Is Malik Willis going to come and save the universe?
I mean, I don't know if he's going to come and save the universe. I mean, when you think of what he has currently, if he was to come to Detroit, he has a lot better of a supporting cast than anything he had at Liberty, for sure. He's one of those players, obviously, as we know, terrific athlete, great speed. He has a thick lower body, which I think helps him, on initial contact from defenders. I think it's going to help him down in the red zone for, zone reads and RPOs and things like that. He throws with plenty of zip. We saw the accuracy deep down the field. We saw the arm strength deep down the field. So I think he's somebody that, carries himself well professionally, and I think he looks ready for the big stage. The biggest concern I have is he throws with no touch. His timing with receivers is pretty bad, and he forces himself out of the pocket a lot. And I think that is because the stuff he has around him, again, is not any good. But I will say, just to kind of, I'm going to say it. I got a text yesterday on the way to the pro day at Liberty that somebody was going to check out the future Detroit Lion quarterback. So take it for what it is.
No. I don't buy it. I mean, the pro day thing, it was crazy because, there's no coverage, and to see the hype that came out of a pitch and catch game to me was like, okay, this feels a lot like the smoke. This feels a lot like kind of putting some stuff out there, seeing if we can move some draft picks around, pick up a little bit of a haul, get some other late round where Brad seems to be more comfortable and better at his gig. I don't know. A pro day, really? This is what started everything on fire for Malik Willis? I mean, gosh.
That's what happened to Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Hey, remember Sam Darnold throwing in the rain? Like, people were like, "Oh my God, put him in Canton. Don't even draft. Just put him in Canton now."
You don't see Pickett doing that.
How's that worked out?
Right? Yeah, it hasn't worked out well.
No.
Oh man, really?
Another number 2 overall quarterback. Another number 2 overall quarterback, Zach Wilson last year. How's that working out for the Jets right now? Yeah. They need a quarterback. They just don't think they do.
It's a theme, huh? Number 2 QBs.
Yeah. Really quick, I got to thank William Myers. Thank you for the super chat. Agree, creating the right culture, players can be developed. It's the Lions way. And also Steve Shattuck, thank you for the super chat. He wants to ask about trade back possibilities there or not. I think we can talk about 2 some more, but since Steve jumped to the front of the line by throwing money at us, I can't turn him down, right? I mean, God, what do you think, Russell? Trade back possibilities. Let's see. Do the Lions have any opportunity? My mind goes to Atlanta as a potential suitor, especially with the show they've got going on there that starts with. Well, it's not a great show, but
they got Marcus Mariota. They like him.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and they do like Marcus, and I think they're going to probably like Matt Corral a little bit as well, as a potential kind of 1A 1B guys that can compete with each other and things like that, and they might just be content with staying at 8. But trading up certainly makes a lot of sense with Detroit and Atlanta. Also Carolina at 6. I know maybe it doesn't make sense for some people because they don't have the draft capital as other teams, but Carolina, just to get in front, to maybe give up future assets that Detroit could certainly use, makes a lot of sense. And if Detroit moves from 2 to 6 and could still potentially land, let's say Kayvon Thibodeau or Trayvon Walker or Jordan Davis or even Kyle Hamilton, that's a win-win for this organization. And again, maybe there's just a lot of smoke to this number 2 pick being a quarterback, and they're hoping that a team like Carolina, Atlanta bite the bullet and move up. And then just kind of the wild card would be Seattle because they have the draft capital. Yep. They got, to me, the greatest haul in the history of NFL trades for what they got for Russell Wilson, which is mind-boggling. It just blows my mind. But the fact that, Seattle could move up from 9 to 2, I think is likely, as maybe it's more so of an outside chance probably, but I think it's in the cards for sure.
They're definitely hungry, but I mean, Carolina is definitely the ugly girl at the quarterback dance this year. Holy cow. They are standing there alone in the corner, getting their own
They
drink.
got Sam Darnold. They got, what's his name? PJ. I actually like PJ Walker. Not as a starter, but I like him.
Yeah.
He would look good for the Michigan Panthers.
Yes, he would. He really would.
All right. So after trading back, what else we got? So Malik is the big pick right now for a lot of folks. Who else is in the cards at 2 for the Lions, Russell?
I don't know why everybody's overthinking it. I mean, why are we so off on Kayvon Thibodeau here? I don't understand. A consensus top pick, just a few months ago, and now all of a sudden, because he leaves the combine early, we're all kind of writing him off. And again, from a Lions standpoint, maybe it makes sense. In the words of Dan Campbell, we don't want turds here. Maybe that's, a turd comment. I'm leaving the combine because it's too long of a day. But, he's got a great first step. He's very explosive. He's got great length for the position, really good blend of power and speed to his game. And when you look at this flexible lower body that he has, it's just what makes him a potential true number 1 edge rusher. Now, health was a little bit of a concern in 2021 because he battled an ankle injury, but he never missed a game. And I think with time, his hands will become a little bit more faster and consistent. But really, it's just, is this guy thinking he's the next superstar, the next diva? Where's his head at for the NFL? Because he's already kind of got the TikTok thing going. And I'm not, discrediting players for social media and trying to build a brand away from football, but it does interfere with what you're trying to build within the culture of your locker room. But if it were me, and again, I'm just a schmuck in an office here, but if it were me, I would be looking at, Kayvon Thibodeau as probably my guy. And then, other than that, I'm not opposed to Kyle Hamilton. I'm going to be honest. I'm not opposed to that thought, especially if Aiden Hutchinson is off the board.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on Hamilton and how he would fit. He is my number 1 player. He would be my first choice at number 2. Mm-hmm. I'm curious because we talked to Mr. Bischoff last week. We talked to a couple weeks ago. We've had some other people on that are really liking him, and we've talked to some people that are like, oh, you can't do that. Like, where are you at with that? You'd be okay with him at 2?
I would be okay with him at 2. I will say I would be a little hesitant. Just because of some injuries that have transpired over the course of his career. Obviously, coming back from a knee injury, that's very much worth monitoring. And I think maybe that's why, he didn't test as well as we thought he would. But also, back in high school, he blew out his IT band going for a loose ball in a basketball game. He had a broken bone in his right wrist, which prevented him from playing quarterback as a freshman in high school. So there is some concern there, but he comes from a basketball family. His dad played, college basketball at Southern Miss, was a 3rd-round pick to the Nets in 1988. Just one of those guys that he's got, professional athlete in his blood and in who he is. And just when you watch him play, I mean, rangy defender, terrific length, great athleticism, versatile for the Fighting Irish. And one of those guys that I think when you look at today's game, you need those safeties that can play as a single high safety, can be in those dual safety looks, but also can play down in the box. And I think he can do all of that. And when you pair him with, Tracy Walker, that's just sexy. That just sounds nice to me. I mean, talk dirty to me on a Wednesday night here.
Well, all right then. Yeah, no, this is the thing. It's so hard because of the positional value argument, but this, sometimes you break the mold, and when you do, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And making big bets like that can make or break careers as well. Brad Holmes is early. I don't know that he has the capital to be able to risk making a move like that. And I was for a long time super all over the Hamilton at 2 thing. I just don't, if it doesn't work, it's going to be all over. I just know that's going to kill him. So I love Hamilton. Riz, I know you're a hammy guy.
I am.
And we've just got to kind of rip that idea, I think, don't we?
I still would do it. I'm not like, I respect y'all's opinions, but he's when you got a chance to get the best
at USA Today. What are you talking about?
when you can get the best player in the draft and you're not picking at the number 1 spot, that's a win.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. No, that's a fair point. And I mean, it's one of those things where I think if if he didn't have the knee injury that he's coming off of, I think we'd be talking about him potentially as the number 1 pick. I mean, it's
well, I will tell you that there are some people who think that he still could go number 1.
That would be nuts. Has that ever happened? I know I'm the draft guy here, but that's never happened. No. A safety at 1?
Eric Turner went 2. And that's my comp for him, by the way, as a physical comp. It's a little before your time, but
yes.
1991, he was the number 2 overall pick. His last year before his knee injury in 1995, he led the league in interceptions and had 159 tackles for a very good Browns team that was leaving Cleveland. Yeah. And then the injuries hit, and then he had unfortunately passed away. But that guy was an impact player and at a position where that was right when Troy Polamalu was starting to come on. That was when you had that transition to playmaking safety became the vogue thing rather than the playmaking corner. Yeah. And you can kind of see that coming back now. Although Tyrann Mathieu's still out there. Look at what Marcus Williams, what kind of value he had. Look at what kind of value what Derwin James has. Look at
Justin Reed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of really good playmaking safeties out there, and the teams that have them. Jesse Bates. Look at what Jesse Bates did for the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I know everybody gives credit to Joe Burrow, but that guy was so integral in what they did and in their wins in the playoffs because he could do everything in that defense. So they didn't have to keep subbing guys out. And you never the offense is like, I don't know what he's doing. Is he covering the tight end? Is he taking away my slot receiver? Is he blitzing? That kind of a weapon. It gives you the advantage as a defensive coordinator against the offense. So you're dictating the terms of the play to them. Yep. That's not something that the Lions have anywhere.
Right.
And I want one of those. And he does that better at safety than any of the pass rushers do it at pass rusher, in my opinion, anyways.
Yep. And the other part about it is, look, you get a quarterback and you get him on in 5 years with the option. It's a heck of a savings to have him on a rookie contract. You get an edge. It's a heck of a savings to have him on a rookie contract. It's about $7 million if you have a top 4 safety on a 5-year contract. That's not a whole ton of money that you're saving by grabbing him on the 5-year deal at number 2. So it's I get it, and he's so good, but it's hard to do. There's another guy who's starting to make the rounds, and some people have him down round 10. Some people are pushing him up to the Lions. I'm hearing his name pop more and more. Trayvon Walker. What do you think? Where do you see him falling?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't like the thought of him at number 2. I think that's way too rich for me. I mean, if we're going to freak out about a safety, I think you got to freak out a little bit on Trayvon Walker, especially with Kayvon Thibodeau sitting there. Yep. But Walker, as good as he is with his length, his power off the edge, he's versatile because you'll see a guy that's 6'5", 272 dropping into coverage, which is just crazy to me. But it's one of those things where
he's good at it too,
and he is good at it. He makes some really impressive plays, and he is somebody that again can use push-pull moves to beat players like Evan Neal. But I just don't know where he's going to play in the NFL. Is he truly going to be that versatile piece in the box that's playing in all these different spots? I don't know. I think he's best suited maybe in an odd front where maybe he could stand up a little bit at times, but maybe he's also best suited just in that 4-eye, in a 5 technique with his hand in the dirt and just kind of bullying guards and tackles and doing those types of things. But I just, at 2, it's too rich for me because especially when you look at production, doesn't have a ton of production, but also when you look at his snap count, he didn't play a bunch at Georgia. This past year was the most he's ever played. And I get it. There's tons. I mean, they got like 20 defenders going in the draft this year, but there is so much there with that defense.
Right. Not an exaggeration.
Not an exaggeration, but there's so much depth on that team. And I get it. But he played so limited his first 2 years and even on this last year where it's like, why was that? And I just think it's because he's still raw. He needs time. And if I'm picking 2, I can't take a guy that's raw and needs time unless it's a quarterback.
There you go. Yep. So there we go. I got to talk. Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat. He wants to see Riz's gorgeous pores in 4K. We'll have to get him some filler for that. Shout out to the best Lions coverage and Slack channel.
We need a makeup budget.
Ryan's awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Also,
I got a guy now.
Yeah, you do.
Flounder rolls in. Detroit Lions podcast draft party. Let's effing go. Absolutely. We are going to have a riot at that one. All right, Riz, I'm going to give you the microphone. I've been kind of hogging Riz's time, and I hate to do that.
That's perfectly fine. I want to go to a little bit later in the draft because this is where you and I have had really good conversations in past drafts, and we haven't had these conversations yet this year, so I don't know where you're at on these at all. 32 wide receiver. Give me your order of preference, assuming that most of the guys will be there.
Well, I mean, obviously, I would love to see like a Chris Olave or something like that there. But with the Packers picking 2 times before us, I doubt that's going to be the case. Yeah. But a guy that will probably be there, maybe. And after the news today with Tyreek Hill, I don't know if he'll be there. But Jahan Dotson out of Penn State, I would love his skill set in this offense at 5'11", 184. He's a great athlete, shows really good agility, good hip fluidity, one of the best hands catchers in this draft. He's consistently catching the ball away from his body, away from his frame, which is important, especially when you've got so much, competition and competitiveness with defenders at the catch point. So I think he can do things inside, outside. He's versatile. A thin frame worries you a little bit, but I think if he wasn't in such a deep draft class at wide receiver of really pick your flavor, I think he would be a solidified first rounder and maybe somebody we're talking about more so in the top 20. But if we could get him there at 32, I'm running to the podium. And then probably the other guy is the guy we saw down at the Senior Bowl, and that's Christian Watson. Yeah, I mean, just great lower body flexibility, has great length and athleticism for the position. He can win vertically down the field. He'll have to improve on 50-50 balls, but I think as a true X receiver, I think he's one of those guys. And if you think back a few years ago, Kenny Golladay kind of emerged as that guy out of Northern Illinois. Christian Watson might be able to do the same for the Lions.
With a little bit more separation.
Yeah, a little bit more separation, athleticism.
Wee bit. Yeah. His athletics production was what he did at the combine was unreal.
Can I dig a little deeper into a guy? Because I know we all saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he lit up, and he had it's the way I kind of describe him is he has every trait you want in a wide receiver except height. We're talking Austin the Third, right? I mean, the guy was out there. He was just fire. He's just short. I mean, people try to compare him to Khalif Raymond, but he's way better in all aspects than Khalif is. What do you think of him? Do you think he has a spot down the draft board for the Lions?
Absolutely, he does. I mean, I think in this game, especially with speed, you can't have too many of these guys. I mean, you look at kind of the Chiefs roster, Byron Pingle, Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson, all these guys that had
Mecole Hardman, baby.
Mecole Hardman, right. I mean, they had 4 of these guys. You can have as many of these guys as you want. And I think it matters because they can do so much. And Austin can do that. I mean, he's got quick feet in his releases. He's a shifty route runner. And even though he's 5'9", 162, he actually plays a lot bigger than that because you'll watch him run down the sidelines and he's high pointing the football. Now, he's not jumping higher than the defender, but he's competing. And sometimes he comes down with the catch. So regardless of, below average size for the position, he can play in a variety of spots. And also he kind of reminds me of like Tyreek Cohen. And I think of one of those guys that maybe could come into this offense and play similar to that role that Cohen did in the Bears with Nagy and all that. So if you could draft him in that 3rd or 4th round, I say go for it.
There you go. All right.
I like it. We'll stick into that 32-34 range. Because we'll take for fact that my Kyle Hamilton dream doesn't come true, and we still need a safety. So Daxton Hill, Lewis Cine, anybody else in that range? Where's your head at with the safeties in that ballpark, or even later? Because I know I like some guys later. I think you do too.
Yeah. Well, I'll start just here in the state of Michigan with Daxton Hill, the safety out of Michigan. You look at today's NFL, we've already kind of talked about it. Jesse Bates, so many safeties, and it's a deep safety group, but Daxton Hill is probably one of the more versatile safeties because he can play almost cornerback at times on the outside, which, we had Will Harris do from time to time, and it didn't go over well. It went better than expected, but didn't go over great. But, Hill could definitely hold his own. He's one of those guys that has that 4.4 type speed, and he's explosive athlete, again, terrific range, has the ability to kind of go sideline to sideline. He can lurk in the deep parts of the field, and it's almost like a shark in water. You're just kind of waiting for for him to strike. And you need guys like that. So I like the aggressiveness that he has downhill. And if he's there at 32, 34, I say take him. But the guy that kind of is my sweet spot is Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. I love his versatility up in the box. I like that he can play in the slot and over the top. I think he has no issues coming downhill and tackling. His technique is square, and he shows the footwork, the fluidity to be a player that can really make a difference. And it's surprising. He's listed at 6'1", 199. When he was in high school, he played power forward and center. He averaged 7.5 points per game and almost 9 rebounds per game and damn near 2 blocks per game. How in the world was a 6'1", 199-pound player doing that? And
he's 3-on-3? What are they doing?
Yeah, big baller league or whatever that was, you know?
I'm a big fan of his as well. I love the safety class, and you go deeper. I brought up before you came on. I brought up Reed Blankenship from Middle Tennessee as a guy that I like. There's you go even deeper. A guy like Marquise Bell, the hard hitter. There's so many good safeties. I wouldn't mind them double dipping in this class.
I'm with you. And, you mentioned hard hitter, Brian Cook out of Cincinnati. I mean, he might be one of the hardest hitting safeties. It's consistently boom after boom. I mean, he's just bringing it every single time. He could definitely, be a little bit more fluid in space. He could certainly get a little bit better in coverage and understand his landmarks and his drops. But when you think of just downhill, bringing it, aggressiveness downhill, he brings it. And I love his skill set. And I think he is somebody that you take a flyer on, you double dip, that's your guy.
Yeah. Let me ask you about one other guy, because I know that the Lions met with him in Indianapolis and he got brought up in our Slack. Kirby Joseph from Illinois.
Oh, yeah. Love this guy. You saw him down at the Senior Bowl. You saw what he could do. He had 5 picks this past year. Great range for the position. You need guys like that. And I mentioned kind of shark in the water, a guy that just kind of strikes at any time. He's kind of that guy. He can float around anywhere, and he's going to make a play on the football. And I think when you see that range and you see what he can do as far as just competing through the catch point, I love a guy that has that type of coverage skill. And the fact that I could potentially get him anywhere between probably rounds 3 and 5, I'm loving it. So I think, with this draft, depending on what they do at 2 and 32 and 34, maybe it picks, 66 and in that 4th round, it could very well be like Damon Clark out of LSU and then Kirby Joseph. And I mean, just come on. I mean, you win the draft if that's your 2 picks there. Give me.
Let me ask you about a player, Boye Mafe. He's a 32, 34 available guy. I really, really like
Where'd my pants go?
And does he make it to 32, I guess, is the first question, because that I see it's questionable in a number of the mocks that I'm seeing. But boy, if he got down there, he seems like he'd be right for the picking.
Yeah, he really would be. I mean, he almost jumped 42 inches in his vertical at the Minnesota Pro Day. I mean, it's ridiculous what a guy can do at his size. And
he's 260 pounds.
It's insane. It is absolutely insane. I love the explosiveness with him. I love what he possesses as far as some of the power and speed to his game. I think he can definitely, speed up his hand movements and do those types of things. He's still just a little raw, a little rough around the edges, but with the David Ojabo injury, I think there's a chance that he's going to be gone by the time we get to 32. We might get a little run on receivers, but I think a team somewhere in the 20s is going to see him and just be like, hey, I got to take this guy now because he's not going to be available on my second turn and I can't move up to get him. So Boye Mafe somewhere, in that 20 range would make a lot of sense for a team. Maybe it's Dallas, maybe it's Tennessee, maybe it's Green Bay at 28. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw. I mean, there's not a lot of capital in here right now, but I mean, there's a deal that probably could be put together from Pittsburgh for that 20th pick. Because you saw it Senior Bowl. I think you probably saw it as well as we did. Tomlin was just madly swooning for Malik Willis, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that Houston could be thinking about pulling that trigger, building up the smoke around it right now, you get that 20th pick and then a whole range of those mid-round picks. This year and next year, I feel like Holmes could really do something with that. It's a stretch. You don't get that sexy number 2 overall pick, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think the top 10 picks this year are super sexy as far as, compared to a lot of the other drafts.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's definitely not as much certainty, right? There's a lot of, I don't know how to identify the talent. It's hard to figure out where the talent is. Obviously, it's a pretty good defensive group. There's some really good offensive linemen, but obviously these teams in the top 10, not everybody's going to take those guys. So it could definitely push some of these guys down. And I mean, if they move from 2 to 20, my jaw would drop because I could not imagine the haul that they would get, but I would like the Madden player in me, as Jeff just did. Give me, like, give me all that draft capital for the future. And if they took Boy Mafia at 20, that'd be awesome. I will say another player though would be, Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. I don't know if he'd be there at 20, but I mean, man, that guy has some serious power behind him. He's getting better. He went from being a rotational player at Georgia to ACC Defensive Player of the Year, 6'5", 254, great length, power, speed. How could you not be excited about that guy if he was there at 20 as well?
He spent every week since the end of the college season and the bowl games, he's spent every week marching up the mock drafts. I mean, he was a guy that early on, it's like, hey, he might be available 32, 34. That's pretty cool. And then he's just tick, 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 tick right up. I mean, I remember the last time I was like, Riz, what do you think? He could fall there? He's like, I don't know. And now there's like no way in hell, right? We just watched him roll right up. Yeah, that would be a great pick at 20. I would love Jermaine Johnson.
I'm for it. I want to go back to the quarterbacks for a second. We're not taking Malik Willis at 2. Let's assume that. Are you taking one at 32, 34? Are you waiting till later? Or are you just punting on it and taking a great punter like Matt Araiza later on? Best punting prospect since Pat McAfee.
I believe it. The guy just punts absolute bombs. But I mean, I wouldn't punt to it, to something else. If this particular player was here, if Desmond Ridder was there, I would certainly think about it. So
you're a Ridder guy.
I do like Ridder a lot. Okay. I mean, the guy wins football games.
Come on, you're a Ridder guy. I mean, at 32, he's like, I could make a case for him. I don't know if I'd say, he's got the Ridder T-shirt and the hat and everything. Come on, leave the poor guy alone.
I mean, I did write an article about him on Cover One about how he's got the goods. So I could easily plug that out. So I guess I'm a Ridder guy, but he's just a natural winner as far as in his competition. 44 career wins. I think he moves really well in and out of the pocket. The zone read stuff that you see from him is really impressive, and the ball does kind of pop out of his hand. Like it kind of goes, but he's one of those guys that needs to add some muscle to his frame. The ball placement is sporadic at times, and he just makes some bad decisions. Like I remember 2 years ago watching him against South Florida, and I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like he's just throwing just terrible passes and making poor decisions. But in this offense behind Jared Goff, I think you give him some time. And if you take him at 32, 34, I don't think it's a bad thing. And one thing that will always stick out with me when watching him was against, I want to say it was Houston or Memphis, one of those two teams. He was sitting on the sidelines. He had a towel over his head. He had a notebook in his hand. He was writing down notes and talking on the old-fashioned phone. And it's just one of those things where it's like, this guy grinds, and I love guys like that because I'm one of those guys. And you just got to grind. And if you put him in this offense, maybe it works. And I mean, they had a chance to kind of work with him, see him a little bit down at the Senior Bowl. So who knows?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I'm having a tough time. There's two things. One, I keep saying about Goff. Goff is a guy that if he plays well, you didn't need to pick that quarterback, and you're not going to be in a place to pick a quarterback. If he plays poorly, then you're going to be in a place to pick a quarterback, and you can move on and get your quarterback next year, right? The one thing I worry about, and this is my biggest knock on Goff, is on the psychological toughness side. If you pull in a Malik Willis at 2, you pull in a Ridder at 32, what does that do to his confidence this year? Do you really get a fair shake on Goff? Do you really understand what you have there? And is it potential that you kind of poked him where it hurt the most, and you'll never know, you'll never see the stop it, Riz. You'll never see the potential that's really there.
That's true. That's a great point. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I worry about the same thing because I want the guy to play well. I don't want to have to spend all these draft picks on quarterbacks. I want to just go with Goff and keep it going, because I thought at points last year he managed games well. He didn't turn the football over. He made some really good decisions at times, but he's not Matthew Stafford. He's not a top tier guy, but if it works and he manages games and with how they like to run the football, that's really all you need. So if it works, maybe we roll with that. But I think the only thing that you could really justify of taking a quarterback is you just maybe want a guy that has a little bit more potential. And then also you just want to get $31 million off the books because the dead cap money goes from 41 to 10. Yeah. So, that's the only thing that I would say justifying it. That's 31 million more reasons than you had, a couple days ago.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got Nemesis breaks. Don't poke Goff in the tenders. Go ahead, Riz.
Please don't.
Put your poker away, Riz.
Oh man. So a couple of mock drafts lately have come out projecting Evan Neal, Charles Cross, other offensive linemen to the Lions at 2 or in a trade back, even one where they traded back and got I think it was actually Cross. Do you see that as a viable possibility at all?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think if they were considering that, I think and again, maybe it will come up within time, but I think we would have probably heard more chatter of, potentially moving Taylor Decker or something like that. Mm-hmm. But to double down on offensive tackle in back-to-back drafts, I just don't see that being the case, especially in the top 10. So, if it happens, it's a safe pick. I'm okay with it, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. This is one of the things that's so Lions, too, as far as Lions timing, right? After picking 373 different offensive linemen, we have a real fat offensive lineman draft here, and it's like, oh, no, none of those matter. And the rest are kind of like, I'm like a little dodgy about everybody else on that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, why? Why is it like this? Oh, we're picking 2. Let's go get what are we looking at? A quarterback, right? It's always this kind of out-of-cycle stuff for the Lions.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go just with your head. We've asked you about a bunch of players. Mock out 1, 32, and 34. Where do you think the Lions go? What's your if you're putting Brad Holmes' hat on, you're sitting there, you got Dorsey chirping in one ear, you got Dan screaming around talking about, biting kneecaps and probably eating chicken wings, bone and all on the other side of you, drinking coffee. You got to make a decision. What are you going to do, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to go at 2. I'm going to go Kayvon Thibodeau. I think the upside is too good to kind of pass by, and just who he is. We all know who he is. I'm going to go with that guy and hope that going back to the Oregon will work well with me, and maybe Penei Sewell will work with him and get him, get his head right and keep him level-headed at least for the next 5 years. But next to that, if Jahan Dotson is there, that would be my guy at 32. I'm going to add another receiver just to the mix because I need to have a good receiver in the mix. And then at 34, one of these safeties. I have to take one of these safeties at 34, whether it's Hill, Brisker, one of those 2 guys I think should be there. And if one of them are there, I'm going to take one of them. But beyond that, I will say the only question mark I have at either one of those spots is where's Nakobe Dean? Because I don't know where his draft stock is going to be. And if he is there, I'm running to the podium and I'm taking him because that's my guy. I think he's a top 10 player in this class. I think he's the number 1 linebacker in this class. And I get it. He's getting knocked for not running and doing, stuff at the pro days and combine. And it's a little goofy. But if he ends up being there at 32, like Daniel Jeremiah predicted, I'm screaming on every stream I'm on draft night. Yeah. I don't disagree with you on Dean, but I just want to go back. I'm all in on Brisker. I like this guy, and as much as I fell in love with Hamilton, and I'm just having a hard time with safety at 2, and Riz, he's like probably call me waffle pants or whatever, but I'm not.
I like waffles.
Well, eat my shorts. I just can't go. I just can't go into the whole thing full bore yet. So if we wind up without Hamilton too, I'm all in on Brisker. Thanks for setting that up, Riz. Man, that's the best one all day.
Walked face first into that one. Oh boy!
Like you would his pants if they were waffles.
Apparently, yes. That's apparently so. So yeah.
Grab the nozzle, keep tugging. There'll be extra syrup coming. Okay, we're going all wrong here. I'll move on.
Yeah. We don't want to scare off our wonderful guests because we want him to come back at some point and talk with us again because you've done a great job. We've enjoyed having you. Yeah. Please check out his stuff at Woodward Sports. Cover 1. I know you get unfairly lumped in as a Bills guy with that. You guys do great. It's really good quality work. Like it's written from a perspective of the Bills, but it's really good information overall. I love you guys. Thank
you.
And most for the most part, most people there have forgiven me for my Josh Allen takes, and I appreciate that.
No, there was someone who didn't in the chat already.
Yeah, they don't forgive me for mine. I compared him to ketchup and bologna sandwiches. So, he was not great at the Senior Bowl, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is. We move on. You learn. You
live and you learn.
If you don't learn from your mistakes, then you're not living.
That's right.
Exactly.
Russell Brown wants Ritter forward of the Bills. We got that locked in right now. He's a Ritter Bills guy. Sorry, I don't want to.
So we'll go real quick for the Bills. Who do you want them to take in the first round?
I mean, the dream scenario for them would be Jameson Williams. I just think him in that offense would be so fun. And it's just somebody like, I just did a Bills podcast for them over at Cover One. And it was like, if he's there at 25, you just imagine this offense real quick. Dawson Knox running up the seam, Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs in the slot. And I'm going 5 wide here. And then we're going those guys in the slot, Isaiah McKenzie and Jameson Williams, all that speed on the outside. We're running 4 verts, and one of those guys underneath is going to be there. And if not, McKenzie or Williams will be available. So I would love to see one of the receivers for them, but if not, I've been on the bandwagon for a while. They need to get another cornerback. I don't want to see them do what our Lions did to Darius Slay, neglect the cornerback for position for so long because you had a true number 1 corner. Go get another guy, and if that's Andrew Booth Jr. or Roger McCreary or Trent McDuffie or Kyler Gordon, one of those guys should be there. And if they are, take that guy.
Is Cole Beasley still? Is he signed anywhere, or is he still out in the parking lot coughing up a lung?
Yeah, he's coughing up lungs.
Okay, cool. All right. Russell Brown now with Woodward Sports. Congratulations to that, man. Really, really good deal.
Thank you, guys.
Good to have you in the
cool.
DEC. A lot more around town doing your thing.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. A lot of fun. Take care. Be safe out there, and go Lions.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Be well. Thanks a lot
man.
for all your insights, man.
Yeah.
All right. Russell Brown, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Got it rocking and rolling. I love him. He's a cool guy.
I like that guy. We spent some time with him in Mobile. He was present when I was eating my donut burger, and he's still my friend. So I appreciate that.
At the Loda, getting the lowdown at the Loda. Yeah, that was good. All right,
I disagree with him on the Kobe Dean, but other than that, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, you went to Kobe Dean at second, right? Second overall.
Yeah. So my issue with that is that there's so many guys there. I don't need that linebacker that early. I'm going later. Nothing against Nakobe Dean. One of the things that I learned in talking to somebody who knows Nakobe a little bit is how ridiculously smart off the field is, and that he got his mechanical engineering degree in 3 years. Like that's saying something to me. Like, okay, this is a guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it honestly, it elevated my grade for him, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah.
Because that shows, my brother was a mechanical engineer. My wife is a chemical engineer. That's a very rigorous thing. And he's playing football at a massively high level doing all that. Dude, that's a guy who knows how to work.
A guy who I respect extremely highly for his intelligence and his approach. He just did a 5-year job on getting his chemi. And, I'm like, man, it took 5. That's what it freaking takes if it took this guy, because he's smarter than he knows who he is in the slack. He's a good
guy. So that makes me feel better about Dean. And honestly, it did raise my grade on him and raise my overall opinion of him.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, let's really quick hit on quarterbacks. There's been a lot of really quick. I want to say this about the number 2 pick. I think there's one thing that I am absolutely 100% certain on about the number 2 pick. It's absolutely nuts, and about a third of the fan base, maybe 2/3, are going to be unhappy with whoever we pick because they're so divided. I don't know. Maybe is it trifurcated? There's 4 different people that they want, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I don't know that you're going to get that sense of celebration this year with a 2nd overall pick from the Lions. It's not because it's a bad choice. It's because there's no clear winner choice at this position, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions, so prepare.
There's only one pick that they would make that would disappoint me, and I won't share that until they make it or don't.
Until they don't make it. Yeah, there you go. All right. Really quick, you're worried about what they're going to pick. You know, you have pain, anxiety, and insomnia all hitting you at once. You want relief? Head on over to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com, cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get yourself some healing love from Diamond CBD. That's the greatest stuff out there. Working out? Use the cream. It's the killer stuff. I use that a lot. They also have regular CBD oils and stuff that will take care of all three of those things and still allow you to pass a drug test. It just takes care of your problems, gives you the relief, lets you get your sleep that you want. I got a sleep app I use, and it's like the Deep Z's sleep. It's some of the best stuff out there for sleeping for sure. Helped me out a lot. And then there's the Active CBD and the Delta 8 that if you're just in it for the buzz, and maybe some of the other stuff too, because it's not a paranoid buzz. It's a good buzz. It's a good chill buzz. Melt you right into your couch. Active CBD or Delta 8, depending on what's legal in your state. cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get high, get better, take care of your head, and shake off the pain out of those muscles after your workout. There you go. cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. I don't even read these. This is just magic coming out of my mouth.
I now have Black Sabbath's Paranoid stuck in my head. I love that song.
Nice. That's a good song. Good song. That was one of the first ones I learned on guitar. All right.
First one a lot of people learn on guitar.
Smoking the waters first. What are you talking about?
Tommy Lee learned that on the accordion. I learned that once upon a time.
Was that in Dirt?
It was not.
Dirt was.
It was in there like behind the music when he was talking about becoming a Hellraiser.
Dirt was a great movie. Dirt was absolutely great.
The
opening 10 minutes was just like stunning, and then I was just glued to it for the rest of it. It was awesome. All right.
The debauchery of the 80s. We've moved on, thankfully.
Oh, we have we? Quarterbacks. A lot of movement around the league. There's been some more movement recently. Russell Wilson to the Bronx. We're recapping a little. Aaron Rodgers to the Packers. Carson Wentz to the Commodes. Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns. Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts. This could be dangerous for a couple years, couldn't it?
It's wild to me that all of these big name quarterbacks have moved, and a lot of them moved voluntarily or made their decisions like Russell Wilson. It's done. It's run its course. Like you're not seeing like Pittsburgh ran Ben Roethlisberger into the ground, and I get why they did, and they did, to their credit, they did try to get replacements for him, but like Drew Brees, they kind of ran him into the ground. Now they did bring back Jameis Winston, which I think is a good move. I think he's the best fit that they can get. And we'll see what Jameis we get. I happen to like Jameis. He makes a lot of weird decisions, but I think he's also a pretty good quarterback. Like he's in the same tier as Jared Goff for me. Yeah. And you can win with that guy if you have a good cast around him, but don't ask him to win the games by himself. Especially him specifically, because he will make mistakes if you ask him to do that.
Just don't jump in the Uber with him, right?
don't get around crab legs either. Yeah, it was crab legs, right? Yeah. I hate that he gets remembered for his worst moments. The guy's had a really good career.
Come on, OBJ, the Cleveland Steamer. I mean, gosh. All right,
That's not a true story.
I know, but it still sticks, and I'm going to make sure it does. Baker,
as a Cleveland Steamer would.
Well, Baker Mayfield, thinking of Cleveland Steamers. My guy.
There's a segue, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel bad for the guy. I really do. I feel genuinely bad for him for how that played out. I think he seems like a pretty decent dude, like outside of the game, but I mean, here you're sitting with, you got Carolina, again, the ugly girl at the school dance, standing alone in the corner, and you got Baker Mayfield, the guy who's pretty awkward, and, you know, his feet are too big, and he's got braces and whatever, and a bad haircut. They're match made in heaven. I mean, what's going on?
They would be, but then yesterday the report comes out, and it was worded exactly this way: mutual disinterest in being together. What, have you ever heard that before? Like, we don't want to know. We don't want you. Like wow. Like that's wildly harsh from an NFL standpoint. Like, you're never going to hear a team slam a guy more than saying we have mutual disinterest in. We don't want him. Like, that's what they're saying. And Baker's saying that he doesn't want to go there. And quite frankly, I understand both sides of that coin. Yeah. Like, Baker, I think, and I did a radio show this morning. I did it with Bobby Carpenter in Columbus, Ohio. And we were talking about the Browns and what you do with Baker. And 14 months ago, he was the king of Cleveland. He won their first playoff game since 1994 in Pittsburgh, played great, played really well in the next game. They had the Chiefs beat if the officials call a helmet-to-helmet hit that happened by Dirty Dan Sorensen against Rashard Higgins. If the refs call that, the Browns beat the Chiefs. Like, there's no question about it. That play literally would have ended the game for them.
What?
And now he's a pariah. Like even the guys who liked him in Cleveland, they're like, go, dude, just go away. Don't go mad, just go away.
What's wrong with that
market? There for you.
Yeah. What is wrong with the fickle? I mean, that was the first place I saw jerseys burn on the LeBron thing, right? And then in Baker, I mean, they just throw away. They crap upon anybody, current player or former. I don't know. I would never want to wind up in Cleveland for any reason as a player.
Baker brings a lot of it on himself because he doesn't know when to shut up, and he didn't play all that well. Even when he was healthy last year, he really played poorly when he was hurt. Mm-hmm. And I blame the Browns as much as I blame Baker for that. There's no way in the world he should have been playing. And I think that the organization deserves more criticism than they're getting for playing him when they had gone out and signed Case Keenum as the desired backup, the highest paid actual backup quarterback in the NFL. Why do you do that and you don't play him? Like, that's stupid. But like, there's nowhere for Baker. The only other place he can go is Seattle. Seattle has made it pretty clear they're going after a quarterback in the draft. Yeah. Whether it's Malik Willis or Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett, like they're gonna have a rookie there.
And you look at the treasure that's flying around for friggin' Tyreek Hill, for wide receivers, for a team to get to their quarterback that they want in the draft. It doesn't seem like trading the trade numbers to get to number 2 are that crazy. It just doesn't seem like that's out of bounds. For
give me number 9 DK Metcalf in your first next year, and you can have number 2.
Oh God, yeah. Oh dude, my pants just shot into next week. Are you kidding me? Now I gotta fly naked. Holy cow, yeah, all day I would take that. And for them, that's not a big spend. You know what I mean?
No, because they've got all that draft capital that they can use. They're going to be aggressive. So the long and the short of it is they're not in the Baker business. Houston came out and said, we like Davis Mills better than we like Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Like, who likes Davis Mills better than Baker? Like,
somebody who's drafting a quarterback. That's who says that.
No, they're not. Like, well, they might. So? Yeah. They're not taking one at 3. I can guarantee you that. They are the floor for Aiden Hutchinson.
They pick at 13, so I guess yeah.
They do. They could take Kenny Pickett there, but I will just tell you, they really, really like Davis Mills. Like, in a manner that you would not rationally believe that anyone would like a guy like that. They really do. So, to his credit, he was better than I thought he'd be. He's very green, but he showed that he's ripening like a nice little banana. So, I'm not gonna crap on him for it.
Perfect time for WM2 to come in with the pants are off, ripening like a nice little banana. All right. Well, Baker Mayfield, that's an exciting run.
So the latest rumor that I heard from someone in Cleveland today was that the Chicago Bears had some interest in acquiring him for a song, basically, as insurance. And one of the understandings is that it's Justin Fields' team, and Baker would have to agree to that. But it would also get Baker Baker has 1 year left on his contract at $18.9 million. That's part of the problem in trading for him, is that you're paying him that this year. He has to get that much as his 5th year option. And then he's a free agent.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So it's a very odd time for him to become available like that.
They can say that.
Chicago could do it as insurance, but they also have to have that insurance. So I don't necessarily buy that, but I've heard it, and I feel obligated to at least mention that.
The second Fields wobbles, the screams for Mayfield are going to start, and you're going to have just an absolute, a cluster bomb on your hands. Oh my God!
The other place that really makes sense, and it's the most ironic thing ever, is Pittsburgh, where they signed Mitchell Trubisky. The only other quarterback they've got is Dwayne Haskins. That guy's terrible. I missed on that one, by the way.
Oh, that would be fun. Is
Baker Mayfield better than Mitchell Trubisky?
He will be in
Probably.
2 games a year.
Yes.
Oh my God, those would be that right. Oh my God.
The thing is that Pittsburgh, they hate him in the way that Detroit fans hated Scottie Pippen.
Right.
That Joker's riding Michael Jordan's coattails. Get him out of there. Liam Beer, go sock him in the face. Mahorn, bump him to the third row.
God,
go do that. He's really, really reviled. And the fact that Pittsburgh, if they're not getting Malik Willis, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I understand the people who are connecting those dots. But yeah, so there's a lot of talk about Detroit, and this is something that Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk brought up because John Dorsey was the guy that drafted him.
Right.
I think that shows a fundamental misunderstanding on Florio's part of how the Detroit Lions are run these days. It misrepresents what Dorsey is within the organization. He's not the primary decision maker. He's not even the secondary decision maker. He's part of the cluster that makes the decision.
He's a strong voice of reason.
He is. So he is the guy. He is the guy who's pushing the gas. He's the guy who's saying we need to go out and get somebody. That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done that. They did it with DJ Shark. I will tell you, I don't know this for a fact, but I have a pretty darn good idea that he's the reason why Chris Board is there.
Our number one ranked PFF linebacker. Let's celebrate it, ladies and gentlemen.
So the other thing is that we've talked about this, and I've gotten feedback from within the Lions that this is true, that they're not interested in a lateral move from Jared Goff. And at this point right now, Baker Mayfield would be a lateral move. It might be slightly going up. And I just all things being equal, this is a conversation I had with Jeremy Reisman on Twitter. All things being equal, I would take Baker Mayfield over Jared Goff, but all things aren't equal because you've got contracts that play in this. You've got chemistry. You've got the dynamics that Goff already has. Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. He's not the easiest guy to play with. He's not an easy guy to be a teammate with. He's not the easiest guy in the world to coach. That goes back to Texas Tech. There's a lot of worries that you would have about that, and it's not worth it. And I don't think that there's. I'll say this: I have heard nothing on that from either side of that coin. Nothing from the Lions and nothing from the Browns that there's any interest at all in sending Baker Mayfield to Detroit. Or Detroit acquiring Baker Mayfield. That's something that somebody just made up because they're connecting a dot and didn't do enough homework on it.
Got it. Was he in a hotel room that he grifted his way into covering something on TV? All right, let's move on to we had Russell Brown today. That was great. Appreciate his coverage. Let's see. Last bit, breakdowns. Yeah, great breakdowns coming. We got Chad Muma, Jojo Doman, and Quay Walker coming up this week in linebackers on Friday.
Ooh, Jojo Doman, I'm interested.
Yeah, good stuff coming from Colin. He has great coverage for us. Every Friday and every Monday, he will have his stuff. We'll be back next Wednesday with the sexiest show on your internet dial. I don't know. Riz and I, it'll be a little different.
These are good, by the way. I'm gonna give 7-Eleven a plug. These are really good.
No doubt.
Better than the body armor things.
There you go. All right. Let's see. Number 2, I think we covered everything. Oh, the draft party. We got to talk about that. Draft party coming up on draft day. We'll cover round 1, round 2, and 3 on day 2. It's always a good time. Have Sandman on board. We got that going on. And there's something coming that I can't tell you yet, but it's going to be gigantic. It is going to be so cool. Just a little sneak peek here. I'll bring it up again for those that weren't here earlier. Oh, yeah. It's more than just a little bit of merch. It's more than a little bit of a connection. It's a lot. It's a lot. We're going to do something good, and you guys can really do something cool. So this is something you've never seen anybody else do, because that's what we do. We do it first. I'll tell you that much. All right. That's what we got going on. That's the show this week. We thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining us. Remember, where's my stuff? We're on Patreon, and all that Patreon support, we love it. Also, we love your Super Chat support. We're putting that because we're using Super Chat because that's the folks that are watching us on YouTube. That's the folks that get the big benefit of the video. Any of your Super Chats we're putting towards this $3,500 upgrade to do 4K streaming. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but we want to bring you the best. We want to take it to the next level because that big screen is going to give us so much more to do with, and you're going to count the pores on Riz's face. Who doesn't want to do that? But if you want to just support and you want to hang out with some great people, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. You'll get access to the Slack with a minimum of a $5 donation a month. It is the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet, bar none. Great conversations going on. Love the stuff we got going on there. Great group of people. I'm coming to town, and one of the guys pinged me, hey, you're coming to town, let's go to dinner. Okay, we're going to dinner. Cool. Great. I mean, it's access for people that want to hang out with us. You get access. We're there every day talking. And there's a great group of people. You're going to get sick of hearing us and talking to them. You're going to love talking to them instead, because really smart, thoughtful group of people. Love the Slack. If you want to get access, again, patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. $5 a month donation there helps you out. And it helps us do the show, right? It's our way to kind of give something back. With all these things we do, we try to make sure you get something out of the deal. It's not just a send us money and we'll go watch TV for you. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast, and at Jeff Risdon. You see it right there, spelled right on the screen. It's perfect. Right. Jeff Risdon and at DET Lions Podcast. Give us the follow. We got all kinds of great stuff going on there. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Why? Why, Riz? Why do you want to subscribe?
Because I want to come into your ear holes automatically.
That's right. All right. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate you all.